Welcome to Hello Baltimore County. I'm your host, Ellen Kobler. Did you know that our very own Community College of Baltimore County offers a wealth of wonderful opportunities to experience high-quality theater and musical performances, artistic and cultural exhibits, and much more? Stay tuned and we'll get you in the front row. Plus, we all know an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. In a few minutes, we'll talk about the importance of vaccinations for children and adults with Baltimore County's Director of Clinical Health Services. But first, have you ever served on a jury or been involved in a court case? We are joined by Baltimore County Circuit Court Administrator Tim Sheridan, who can shed some light on the workings of our local judicial branch of government. Thanks for being with us, Tim.
Hello, Ellen. Thank you for having me here.
Sure. Okay, so the judicial system is the third branch of county government. Of course, we have the executive and the legislative. Tell us a little bit about the court system, how it works, and how does the circuit court fit in with the rest of the judicial branch?
In Baltimore County, there are two courts. There's the circuit court and the district court. The district court has three locations, one on the east side, one on the west side, and one in Towson. The circuit court is a court of general jurisdiction. It gets its authority from the Maryland Constitution, and that really just means it tries all cases that the district court doesn't try. But the circuit court's located in downtown Towson, right off Bosley Avenue. It's a big building. And what the case types that they usually try there are felonies in the criminal world, whereas the misdemeanor cases or the parking and traffic tickets, they're decided at the district court. And the larger civil cases, it's based on a dollar amount. Small claims court, a lot of people have probably heard of that, that's run through the district court. And then anything that's over $30,000 needs to be tried in the circuit court. And the circuit court is the only court that can have a jury trial, either a criminal jury trial or a civil jury trial, which is really where probably most of the citizens have their contact with the court, is through jury duty.
Right.
Sometimes they're called as witnesses in a case, or they could be involved in a case. So if it were a criminal matter, for example, the crime has to be committed in Baltimore County to be tried in a circuit court. The people could be from any other parts of the state or anywhere else, but the crime has to be committed there. In a civil case, most common is a domestic case. All family disputes, those are tried in the circuit court, except for domestic violence cases, which are also brought at the district court. We also get civil cases involving car accidents, contract disputes, and again, if someone asks for a jury trial and they have a right to one, that'll be tried at the circuit court. And if the dollar amount is high enough, that will also be tried there.
Okay, in addition to trying cases, what other services are provided to the public by the circuit court?
Well, one of the biggest things is actually a function of the clerk of the court, which is another independently elected officer. But the clerk of the court serves Baltimore County, and the clerk issues, their main job function is to keep track of all the paperwork in any file in a court case. But they also issue all the marriage licenses and business licenses for Baltimore County. So if you want to get married in Baltimore County, you got to go see the clerk of the court, fill out a form, and get your license with a small fee attached for that. The circuit court also, through the clerk's office, offers the service of performing a marriage ceremony right there at the circuit court on the second floor. We're very crowded on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
And often people will come there, and there's a fountain outside of the courthouse and between the county office building that serves as a good photo backdrop for the wedding ceremony.
Yep, so there are some happy things that happen in the courthouse,
too. At the court, one of the day the judges call happy day, because as you can imagine, judges see a lot of things that aren't so happy.
Yeah.
But we have an adoption day where it is happy because we're uniting children with a new family and a new beginning, and it is one day when the judges usually leave with a smile. As you can imagine, it's a lot different than trying a robbery case.
Indeed. Now, you mentioned judges. How many judges are there, and circuit court judges are elected? How does that whole process work?
There are 18 circuit court judges, and there's one chief judge. The chief judge is appointed by the the chief judge of the Court of Appeals appoints Baltimore County Circuit Court chief judge. Okay. But the 18 really operate almost independently. When they're in their courtroom, they are they're in charge of things in their courtroom. And the chief judge handles administrative functions and assigns dockets to the other judges. But again, and there's a lot to the administrative side of that, which is where I come in and help with the budgeting and the financial aspect of the court. But to become a judge, to answer your question, is you have to be a lawyer and be a resident of Baltimore County, and you apply for the position, and the governor appoints the judge, and then after the governor appoints the judge, there is a general election, and any other lawyer could challenge the selected appointee, and the public decides who's the winner, and that the winning judge serves for 15 years.
Okay. Tell us about jury duty. That is probably the most frequent interaction that the average person would have. Yeah.
If we tracked our phone calls, jury duty would probably be one of the greatest questions that we have, which is why we've developed a website. And the website, if you get a summons, you'll have on the bottom of your jury summons, a summons would be if you were selected to serve. You will be given a piece of paper that says you were ordered to appear on the court on December 15th or whatever date it might say on there, and you to appear at 8:30 and report to the jury commissioner. But it tells you before that there's a call-in number. Call in to see if you've been selected. So, and there's a process when you get your jury summons. You fill out an online questionnaire, and you can turn it in by mail. And again, there's a lot of help on the document to steer you towards the website to get you assistance. So if you are issued a summons, and then you call in the number and it says numbers, your juror summons will have a number 1 through 500, and it'll say maybe numbers 1 through 200 are to report, the other 300 don't have to.
Oh, okay.
So you report into jury duty, and then you may or may not be selected for a case. And that can depend on a myriad of factors. But once you report in, then if a judge calls for a jury to be brought up to their courtroom, they'll say in a criminal case they might ask for 75 people to come up so they can select a jury of 12 with 2 alternates. And there's all kinds of reasons why people can't serve. They might know the defendant. They might know the police officer in the case. And a lot of people, they sort of don't want to serve on jury duty. We hear this, but that's what we hear when they come through the door. And when we hear after they leave, after they've served on a trial, is that it was a wonderful experience.
Oh, interesting. That's good to hear.
Most trials are only 1 day. And if you're called to serve on that trial, then you won't be called again for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
But if you are called in and not selected for a jury trial, you don't have to come back for a year, but they'll put you back on the roll.
Okay, as far as some logistics, I'm guessing one of the biggest questions that you get is whether people can bring their cell phone into the courthouse for jury duty or whatever their purpose is there. You're
correct. That's a great question.
Okay.
The first of all, through the Maryland Constitution, we have a policy called open courts, which means anybody can come to the court building. It's a public building, open to the public. Our trials are open to the public. With that said, juvenile cases involving a minor and some adoption cases are sealed for the protection of the parties involved. But if you would like to come in and watch a case, that's your right as a citizen, and then sometimes some would say it's your duty to observe and know what's going on in your community. But if you do come in, you will be required to go, the sheriff who runs security for the building, you'll be required to pass through the x-ray machine to detect if you have any weapons or anything like that, and your cell phone will have to go through that as well. But you may bring your cell phone in, which is a change from policies in the past, and you may use your cell phone in the building, but you may not use it in a courtroom.
Okay, and what about taking pictures?
Oh, pictures is another interesting topic, which with the advent of the picture in the cell phone is difficult to control, but we have a pretty firm policy that you're not allowed to take any pictures in the building, and the sheriff will not allow you in with a camera unless you're there for some official purpose. Some cases, like the adoption cases I mentioned, are happy days, and people do want to get a camera in, and the judge will grant permission.
Okay.
But as a general rule, no pictures allowed in the courthouse.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today to kind of give us an overview of the court system in Baltimore County.
You're welcome.
Thanks. And stay with us. We'll be right back with more of Hello Baltimore County.